Welcome to Divine Decode. I'm your host, Pragya. Today we have with us Richard Tierney, a voice that is shaking up the way we see mental health. He believes feelings aren't flaws, labels aren't life sentences, and the past does not get to write our entire story. Through his work with children and adults, Richard helps people untangle trauma, break free from labels, and choose freedom over fear. This isn't just a conversation about healing, it's about rewriting the narrative we've all been told about emotions, identity, and what it truly means to live free. So hold your breath, take a seat, let's dive in. And thank you so much, Richard, for being here on our show. It's such a pleasure to host you today.
Pragya, thank you very much. I started holding my breath there thinking you're talking to me. You presented very well, so thank you very much for that. To your audience, really glad to be here, guys and girls. Really cool to be here. I've been very thrown by the idea that I saw recently the news that there's 290 million children in the world today who have been diagnosed with mental disorders between the ages of 10, 19. I was shocked by this number. I love that Ben Shapiro, he's a Jewish American, really very big in the field of health. And he spoke about the fact that we shouldn't be intruding upon children in their growth. Now, he's talking mainly about transgenderism, but he's saying that until they're at least 25. And when it comes to emotions, a child goes through different stages. So when they're a small child in the home with the parents, they learn one set of emotions. And then when they go to the school for the very first time and they're meeting other children and teachers, they go through a process of their feelings and emotions changing. And then when they get into adolescence of 10, 11, 12, their emotions change again. And then they start making some more kind of solid friends. And when they get to the age of 15 up to like 19, they start being attractive to girls and boys and whatever, their emotions and their feelings change again. And then finally, when they get to leave home and go to college or to go get a job, their feelings and emotions change again. So their feelings and emotions don't really fully develop until they are about 23, 24, 25 years of age. And we shouldn't be intruding upon that growth process. But mental health professionals have been targeting children as young as 10 and telling them that their feelings and emotions are mental disorders. There's anxiety disorder and depression disorder and bipolar disorder and stress disorder and all these crazy, robbing children of their ability to grow into normal, boring human beings. And they're the future of our human race. 290 million children are the future of our human race. They're the leaders. They're the ones that'll change the world. And if we're robbing them or depriving them of the ability to be normal children, they'll grow up into be abnormal adults. So that's what I'm thinking about. And what do you think of that, Pragya?
So great. And yes, thank you for, bringing that firstly. And I totally agree to what you've said. That first of all, the data that you shared about 90 million.
290 million.
190 million.
290.
290. Oh my God.
Million.
290 million children affected by, all the things that happen around us and, having mental disorders. It is a big, big number, something really concerning. And I hope that through us and through other platforms as well, and through people like you, a lot of people, they're aware about the situation. And yes, it really matters, it starts with awareness. It starts with talking about it and then working on it. So thank you for saying that, Richard.
Okay, so the next point is, I believe that I'm a Christian. Well, not so much a Christian. I don't do church. I'm not a member of a denomination anymore. Although I was raised a Roman Catholic, I became disillusioned with the Roman Catholic faith. I felt there was too many man-made rules in it. So I kind of left the Roman Catholic faith and I tried other faiths. I tried Baptist and Jehovah and Protestant and Anglican and Presbyterian. And in each instance, I was taught something more about God and about Jesus and about Christ that helped me to nurture a healthy relationship with God. So today I'm not a member of a denomination. I don't declare myself as any denomination. I'm not a member of any man-made religion or any church, but I do find churches, any kind of church, very, very peaceful. I love going to churches, although I'm not a member. I go to church and just sit in a church when there's no one around, and I feel a great sense of energy in those buildings. But I'm not a member of a church. I want to say that first. I'm not trying to promote any religion here, okay? And that's I need you to know that before we start. But I do believe from my learning as much as I could about God, and that God lives within us. That's the first thing we have to know. The second we have to know is that he gave us 4 responses for danger. So our feelings and our emotions are our God-given instincts. That in the face of any danger, our instincts are triggered and we feel anxious or depressed or fearful or doubtful or abandoned or betrayed. And in that moment, we're meant to take one of 4 responses: fight, flight, freeze, or acceptance. As long as we don't harm ourselves or another person, we can't make a wrong choice. So in one instance, maybe flight, you decide to leave the classroom, leave the school, run home, or leave the house and run outside, or hide somewhere, hide in the bedroom, hide under your bed, hide behind the closet, hide in the garden. There's somewhere where you can go and run and hide. The second one is to fight. Rather than confrontational fighting, what you're doing is maybe you're standing up for yourself. You're screaming out loud when someone comes towards you. You report the person by email or by phone. You tell your parents, you tell your teacher, you tell somebody that so-and-so is hurting you or bullying you or teasing you or abusing you. You tell somebody. There's ways of fighting where that doesn't mean you're actually fisty fighting. You're actually taking an action where you're standing up for yourself and just say no, as they say in the West about drugs. Tell children just to say no. This kind of stuff will teach children that they're allowed to stand up and say no, to run away and whatever. The third response is freeze. Now, for young children who aren't allowed out of the house because they may get lost or they may walk out in front of traffic, and if the parents are fighting or something going on in the house, they can't run away and they can't hide. What they'll do is they will shut down mentally and emotionally, and they'll go to a place of fantasy in their mind. They'll go to a dream place and they'll disassociate. And that's a healthy response. But even mental health professionals are now saying dissociation is a disorder. It's like we're robbing children of every ability to be whole themselves by telling them that all the responses are disorders when they're not. So if I'm sitting with you and you're triggering me and I can't leave because, I don't know, maybe your family or something, I'll just switch off and be looking at you like you think I'm here. But in my mind, I've gone to my place of fantasy. Maybe I'm swimming with dolphins, or I'm running in through the snow with snow leopards, or I'm climbing trees with squirrels. I go somewhere in my mind that I feel safe so I can leave the building mentally and emotionally. And then when you leave the room and I feel safer, I'll come back into myself. And that's disassociation. It's one of the safest coping skills for children. And then it's also you can withdraw, you can isolate, you can stay in bed, go back to bed, go to sleep. There's places where you can freeze that can be safe for you. And the fourth one is acceptance. I say, you're from India, I'm from Ireland. When we grew up, God was in our lives and family was very important, and you understood about God. And whether your God is an Indian God or a Christian God, we understood about God, and God created us for a reason. And if we ask him for help, he'll give us help. And if we don't ask him for help and then we call out to him in the middle of the night, he won't come to us. We have to actually let our guard down and say, God, please help me. And the certain prayers you can learn so you can actually call God in. But when you do call God in, he'll come in and save you. So acceptance is accepting there is a God. He created everything in 7 days. And for that reason, he can take care of your trouble in 2 minutes. And if you're a Buddhist or a Muslim or a Hindu, you can ask for Rich's God to give you peace of mind for 10 minutes and then get peace of mind and kind of go, that's crazy. Just ask Rich's God for 10 minutes and I got 10 minutes of peace of mind. This is really cool. I can see we made a Hindu or a Buddhist or Islamic, but I can ask Rich's God for 10 minutes of peace of mind and I get 10 minutes of peace of mind, and so on. And they're the kind of things we need to teach our children.
So insightful. And I totally agree to it. There is a certain I'm also, not preaching anything over here, but the thing that that one belief and that one sense of spirit, and that one sense of someone guiding you or being there for you from above is something that keeps us going and moving all the time. Also, Richard, there are too many people here. The kid, if we talk about, who is called too shy and, who often grows up into the adult, who avoids public speaking because of the same label, or, just because they're considered too shy, they do not have friends now because they judge themselves way before people do. So, do you see common threads between adults and children and how they struggle with their lives emotionally? And how should we address that?
Well, it's actually quite simple. First of all, I want to share that I've written a book called How to Live Stress and Anxiety Free 24 Hours a Day. And it's available in most book platforms and in Amazon. And it basically teaches children how to become strong and confident in themselves and to know that all their feelings and emotions are healthy. And again, same with getting anxious about public speaking. It's perfectly okay to be anxious about public speaking or to be nervous. And it's okay not to do it. Maybe you've been selected by your teacher to public speak on Thursday and you're so scared, you just don't go. Your teacher will get over it and someone else will speak and it'll be all over. And if you can't go, you don't go. You don't break yourself up because you didn't go and feel guilty. If you don't want to go and you don't want to go, you told the teacher you want to speak and it comes around the day and you disappear, it's okay. To understand, we must trust our feelings and we must take the appropriate action. But as parents and as guardians, teachers, aunts, uncles, whoever, we have a duty to nurture and condition our children to accept that the feelings and emotions are perfectly okay, and then to teach them all the different ways to respond. So, like for public speaking, when I work with children who had a problem with public speaking, I said, all you need to do is stand up on the stage and say, I didn't want to be up here. My teacher forced me to come up here to speak in front of you. I'm very nervous. I might even think I might pee in my pants. I want to throw up. But I love this subject, and my teacher thinks I have something to share. So I'm going to share with you 5 points about this topic, and then I'm going to leave the stage. And then you share your 5 points, and you walk off the stage to a standing ovation. So if we can teach children to own their fear and speak it, everyone will think they're the greatest thing because no one wants to publicly speak. And there's things we can teach children. So what I suggest is starts in the home first. You pick the 6 most kind of common fears. So we have anger and fear, anxiety and depression, grief and loneliness. Okay. And then we put below that, so the parents might get a sheet of paper and at the top of the page, write these 6 feelings. Okay. So anxiety, depression, fear, anger, grief, and loneliness. And then on the side, they put down fight, flight, freeze, and acceptance. Okay. And then you have the children say, okay, when you feel anxious, which of these 4 responses is your mind screaming at you to do? And the parents might start off by saying, well, when I was a child, when I got anxious, I'd want to run away and hide. And Mammy says, I'm the same way as Dad. I'd run away and I'd hide under the bed. And Dad might say, I might run away and hide in the spare room or in the bathroom. And then there's children here, the parents saying that they'd run away and hide. And they say, well, I'd run outside, or I'd run down the road, or I'd run somewhere. I'd love to run behind under the bed. And we say, okay, well, listen, just for the fun of it, let's all go up and hide under Mammy's bed. What do you think? They're all going to go, okay. So the whole family go upstairs and climb underneath the bed and stay there for 10 minutes. And maybe they'll be a bit giggling, whatever. The children won't believe that the parents are on the floor under the bed hiding with them. And for 10 minutes later, then you come out from under the bed, go back down and say, how is that for you? And the children are learning that it's okay to run away when they're anxious. And it's okay to hide under the bed. And they talk about that. And then it's okay for the next one, for depression. When you get depressed, what do you feel like doing? They all say, I want to freeze. I want to just shut down. Okay, well, let's try this freeze practice where we go into a place in our minds and we escape reality for 10 minutes. So, and then after we can tell each other where we went, but no more than that. And so they all do that. And I go to my space with dolphins, and my wife goes to the space with the squirrels. And it turns out the children go swimming or walking or climbing or something, whatever it is. And afterwards we say about it, where did you go for your disassociation? The kids kind of go, I went down to the fun park. And the dad said, well, I went up to swim with dolphins. And Mum says, well, I went climbing trees with squirrels. And then the other children tell their thing. And then we all laugh about that, kind of go, they're a good space to go to. Whatever, I went running with horses on a prairie. And again, then the children learn it's okay to disassociate. And they hear the different ways Mammy and Daddy did it and the siblings did it. So then they've other ways of disassociating the future, not just the old way they had. And then you go same thing to fight. And you say, okay, listen, what can we do about fighting? Let's say it's anger and you're angry. What do you want to do about fight? And they say, well, if it's fight, I want to kind of tell them to feck off. Okay, let's all pick somebody who wants to say feck off. Who do you want to say off to? Let's say it's me. Let's say I'm being angry in the house. I'm not going to give any trouble. Let's imagine I'm being angry in the house. You want to tell me to feck off. So just tell me to feck off to my face. And your children say, Daddy, go away. You really annoy me. And they all get to say this, and Mammy gets this too. The children suddenly feel it's okay to have a voice. It's okay to speak up for yourself. And this is the idea. So in the home, the parents do this with the children. And they go through each of the responses, fight, flight, freeze, and then acceptance. And then at school, the teachers take the whole class, do the same thing, the 6 same responses, 6 same feelings on top, anxiety, depression, anger, fear, loneliness, and grief. And then you go through the 4 responses and which of these tie in with it, and the whole class do it. So the whole class will run to the canteen and hide in the class for 10 minutes. Canteen for 10 minutes. The whole class will come back and then they'll all disassociate together as a group of 20, 30 kids, and they talk about where they went off, where they're hiding. And then they'll do the freeze or whatever. And they do each of these things every time. And they learn from their peers, other places you can disassociate, other places you can run away from. And everyone talks and shares this. And you build up a little kind of army, a little notebook. You write all these things down. By the end of a month, the children will have 30 different ways of fighting, 30 different ways of flighting, 30 different ways of freezing, 30 different ways of asking God for help. And in each of these instances, they'll find something that really resonates for them. And they may only choose one of them, but they can find one that really works for them, that really resonates with them. And suddenly no longer are their feelings a mental disorder, because now they know how to cope with anxiety. So they get anxious, they kind of go, okay, now I know with anxiety, I have got 30 different responses in 4 different ways of responding in 4 different responses. I have 120 different ways to react to anxiety. And in that moment, suddenly we're creating giants. A moment before they were diagnosed as being mentally disordered, broken children, and now they're going to go into strong, independent adults. Pragya, what do you think?
Mm-hmm. First of all, yes, I totally agree to it. And I would love to share one instance with you.
Please do.
Today, basically, I had this audition. I'm trying to get into as many committees as I can in my college. So was this audition happening today, and I was actually a bit nervous because my classes ended and then I had to go for auditions. And there were people. I do speak a lot. Like, I am a stage person. I love public speaking. I do all of it. But still there is that certain kind of nervousness which is actually required. So the thing that you shared, you just go up and you say that you were posed over here. Because what I did, I stood over there, and first thing that I said was, everybody, please do not laugh at me, or else we'll see. Like, I said something that made them also comfortable. Even the judges, they laughed.
Yeah.
So I was also okay. And then I performed, and probably I'm selected. So that is the thing that actually works. And I really resonate with what you shared, that you just have to be yourself and you just have to be in the moment. Nervousness and all of it, that is actually really, really required. And yes, I totally resonate with all of the things that you shared over here. Thank you for that.
You're exactly right. It's not about being a perfect at this. I mean, we all fear public speaking. When I first came onto these podcasts, I would speak so fast, no one understood what I was saying. And only with practice over time, I've started speaking slower and trying to leave space between my words. And it's all a learning curve. The first time we do this, we're horrible. The first time you go for your interview or you go for public speaking, you think you did terrible, but everyone can't believe that you had the courage to stand up and speak in front of an audience. And it might be an audience of 2 people or 200. People are shocked that you had the courage. And I'm up on the stage. The first time I publicly spoke, I felt I was peeing my pants. I was so scared. The previous night, I must have vomited about 17 times.
Es geht Planung. Ich finde das Thema total spannend aus verschiedenen Perspektiven. Und zu Gast der CEO von Shiftplan, das ist Dr. Fahud Torabian. Herzlich willkommen, Fahud. Ich freue mich, dass du da bist.
Hallo Gero, auch danke.
Wir starten mal mit dir als Person. Wie bist du zu Shiftplan gekommen? Du hast einen Beratungshintergrund. Was hat dich an dem Thema?
You show your vulnerability. So I learned in time that when I was a child, and even in my 20s, my best coping skill was disassociation. I don't share this very often, but I've been sharing it now on podcasts. I remember at the age of about 27 years of age, I wasn't in a very good psychosis place. I was coming off the back of addiction, and I'd had some unprocessed trauma from my childhood that I hadn't dealt with, and that had been what I'd been drinking over. I became an alcoholic. So I'm not drinking about 2 years, but I'm not healthy. I'm not mentally or emotionally well at that stage in my 20s. And I remember my family came over to do an intervention, and I'm inside chain smoking in my house. And they come to my window, and if I had seen them, I would have hidden. But I was so engrossed in watching some movie on TV that when they came knocking the window and I saw them, now they're only 4 feet away from me. Like, they're on the other side of the window looking in saying, Richard, open the door, I want to talk to you. And the whole family there, my father, my brothers, my sisters. And I just went into this association. I pulled back the couch from the wall. I get down on my hands and knees. I crawl in behind the couch. I put my hands over my head. I put my head into my waist, and I'm rocking back and forth, humming to myself to block out the sound of my family nearly crying at the window, saying, "Please let us in. We want to help you." And I shut off to reality, and they're rocking on my hands and knees, rocking back and forth behind the couch like I'm this crazy lunatic. My family suddenly think, we can't go in. If we go in, we might send them over the edge. We better go home. And they left. 5 minutes later, I get up, they're gone. I sit back on the couch and I'm okay. Utter crazy behavior, but it kept me safe. And in moments of my childhood, that disassociation kept me safe. People who didn't understand it would think that's a disassociate. But for me, it was the best coping skill in that time to keep me sane. I know my family loved me and they wanted to help me, but in that moment, I felt as though they were threatening my well-being, threatening my sanity, and that's all I could do to stay sane. So that's what you have to understand. You must trust your feelings, and you must trust the response that you choose. Whatever one is, if it's running away, you run away. And if you have to run away every time, 50 times before someone takes notice and does something about it, you run away 50 times. We have to understand our feelings and emotions are not mental disorders. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to not go. Like if you didn't go for that appointment, it means you wouldn't get in. But if you didn't want to go, you didn't have to go. You'd still go next year, or, you can always go again. It doesn't mean your life is over. Like, every day something new happens. But if you do stand up, own it. Say, I don't want to be here. I'm very scared. Please don't laugh at me. I'll give you my best. I think I'll be a great party to your team, but I'm nervous standing up in front of you like this. And then share your bit and walk away. People love when you share your vulnerability and your humility, that the fact you're a human being, Pragya. So well done, you, Pragya.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Richard. And, that is actually so powerful. Also, there are these small daily steps that we take towards ourselves, towards knowing ourselves better, towards fearing our fears, basically. And I'm getting reminded of this saying by, Oprah Winfrey, where he talks about, daily rituals, sometimes rituals like gratitude and those small steps that become the anchors for big inner changes. And that is really, really powerful, and it makes the process more enjoyable, and it really makes you believe in yourself much more. Is that right?
Brilliant. Pragya, I know we have about a minute left. Can I share with you 4 points to share with your audience? Would that be okay?
Yes.
You only have a minute left, so I don't have enough time. So the first one is, the family that you're born into may not be your tribe. You may not fit in. So you might be a need, nerd, or geek. You might be an introvert. You might be a bookworm. And your family are all success-driven, outgoing social animals. There's nothing wrong with them or nothing wrong with you. You're just not a fit. But if you strive to find your tribe, it normally happens when you leave home and you go away and you start a job and you find your own tribe, you'll fit in perfectly. So you'll meet other nerds and geeks and you'll be perfect together and you'll be fantastic. So don't give up before the miracle happens. If your family aren't your tribe, you will find your tribe out there. And the experience of having lived in your family, which may have been dysfunctional, will help you to help others in the future. Number 2 is, you're never a victim. So if my wife wanted to divorce me, it wouldn't be about me. It'd be about her wanting to have her needs met, which I'm not meeting. So it's not about me being the baddie. It's about her looking after her needs. If my boss wants to fire me, he's not firing me because he doesn't like me. He's firing me because he wants someone to do a job that I'm not able to do. And that kind of thing. So once you stop being a victim, everything will change in your life. You can understand that the other person's doing something, nothing to do with you. It happens to just happening to you, but it's not about you. And if you can give it the idea of being a victim, you're fantastic. You'll be great. Second one is to understand, the third one is to understand that you're never truly alone. Like, you can come on to Pragya's podcast here and hear some wonderful stuff. You can go to YouTube or Spotify. You can go down to the library, loads of books and audio files you can get to learn stuff, read books. There's so much you can get. You can go to your local church or temple, wherever your spiritual advisor in, and talk to them, and they'll give you tips and advice. You can pray, you can meditate, you can journal. There's so much you can do that you're never truly alone. I remember being in an airport one time in Singapore on the way back to Ireland, and I was on my own. I wasn't in a good headspace for so again, it wasn't the same thing. I'd left my wife and my children behind. It was uncomfortable leaving them behind. And I was traveling to Ireland for some business. And my head was going crazy. So, and I said, I can't go through my whole travel like this. So I went over this guy, and he didn't speak any English. I said, do you mind if I talk to you for 5 minutes? And your man kind of nodded at me. And I just spewed my stuff to hit this guy for 5 minutes. And then he got up and went for his plane. I got up feeling fantastic, went for my plane, never met the guy again. Maybe he didn't speak any English, but I got to be heard. And then we have a little Chihuahua dog, and when I go bring him for walks, I give him all my day. I just give it all to this dog. He's doing his pees and poos. He ignore me, but I give it to him. And then when I come back from my walk, I feel better because I've been heard. Now, even though the dog doesn't speak English, doesn't understand me, and I probably speak too fast, I feel like I've been heard. And the fourth and final one is, know there is a God, that he loves you. He created you for a reason. You have a reason and a purpose and meaning for being in this world. And if you learn to have conversations with him, he will answer all your prayers. He will perform all the miracles you need in your life. So I've written a book called How to Live Stress and Anxiety Free 24 hours a day. And it teaches you how to have conversations with God. It teaches you how to love your feelings and your emotions, and to know that they are your superpowers. Pragya, thank you very much for having me. Your audience, I hope I've offered you some hope.
Richard, oh my God. those 4 principles or the 4 most important things and insights that you've shared. Oh my God, they're everything. And thank you for this, Richard. Also, as we wrap up, what stays with me from this conversation is the constant reminder that, neither children nor adults, every human being, they're defined by their labels or their pain. And Richard has shown us that emotions are not disorders, and just knowing about yourself and exploring your emotions, expressing them does not make you weak. Also, so if you're listening right now, maybe take one step today, whether, it's rethinking the story that you tell yourself, or, just take that step and, just stand at that stage and just talk whatever you want to talk your heart out. I'm Pragya Malviya signing off from Divine Decode. Until next time, stay curious, stay free, and make sure that you visit Richard's book and actually you just read it and make sure that you take whatever insights he has shared with us today, because I resonate with all of them and they are beyond what people tell you. This is real advice. Take that. Thank you. I'll sign off, and thank you, Richard, for being here.
Pragya, thank you very much. And I hope your audience found some hope and all that. Thank you very much for having me.